Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture 22 of data mining. So today we will be discussing an algorithm from graph-based clustering, which is the Chinese whispers clustering algorithm. And then after that, we will be talking about cluster validation or evaluation. So that's basically the agenda for today. And then, of course, we do have a quiz at the end of the session at around 1:30, 1:35 p.m. So are there any questions from the previous lecture? So let's discuss the Chinese whispers clustering algorithm. So this algorithm is a relatively simple algorithm, uh, and it's a graph-based clustering algorithm. We discussed some notions of graph clustering last time as well. We first talked about how to convert a similarity matrix into a uh, adjacency matrix or proximity matrix for graph clustering. And then we mentioned some techniques like spectral clustering and min-cut clustering and cliques and so on that can be used for graph clustering. But we are going to discuss this technique, Chinese clustering algorithm, which is similar to Markov clustering, which is another clustering algorithm. So the idea in this technique is relatively simple. It looks at the labels or the clusters of the objects that are close to a particular object. And of course, when we say close to a particular object, we're talking about a graph. So we have an object that is, we have a data that's represented as a graph. And let's say if you have some, for each node in the graph, we have some labels assigned to those nodes as well, representing the clusters. So if a particular node has many nodes in its neighborhood that belong to a particular cluster, then that node should also belong to that cluster. So that's the whole idea. So let's try to formulate this. So basically, we have n objects to be clustered. So n objects to be clustered, and we assume that we have a graph for that cluster of n objects. And graph, of course, consists of vertices and edges. The vertices consist of objects, and edges consist of relationships between objects. And based on those relationships, we have an adjacency matrix A. So this matrix, of course, is n by n matrix. So such that if Aij is equal to 1, and of course, this is the standard adjacency matrix. If Aij is 1, if object xi is linked to object xj, meaning that there is an edge between object xi and xj. And when would there be an edge between xi and xj? When they are similar or the similarity passes some minimum threshold. And of course, this is 0 otherwise. So this is the standard adjacency matrix, which you can derive directly from the graph if it is given for the data set. So Aij means if it is 1, that means that object xi is connected to object xj, or there is an edge between xi and xj. Sometimes this graph can be weighted as well. So you can have a weighted graph, and the weights so represent similarity. So in this case, what we sometimes we distinguish this from the adjacency matrix by saying that this is the affinity matrix. It is still A, but it's affinity matrix. And in this case, A, I, J is basically the similarity between X, I, and X, J. Okay. So whatever notion of similarity you have defined for the objects Xi and Xj. Of course, usually similarity is symmetric, but for the application of this algorithm, it is not necessary that the similarity of Xj should be equal. Similarity of Xj, Xi and Xj should be equal to Xj and Xi. They could be different. So the algorithm can work on both scenarios when the similarity is symmetric, when it is not symmetric. So this is the affinity matrix, and of course, if you have non-weighted graphs, you have the adjacency matrix. And then we have a matrix D, which we call the cluster or class matrix D. And this is also n by n matrix. So in this matrix, the rows represent objects. So there are n objects, of course, there are n rows. And columns represent clusters. So at most you can have n clusters for those n objects. Okay. So there are n columns, and of course each column representing a cluster. And the values D, I, J is, let's say this could be binary, it could be non-binary as well. Let's say it is binary. If this is 1, then this means that object xj xi sorry belong to cluster Cj, meaning that in the jth column you have the ith row as 1, meaning that object I belongs to cluster J. Okay. So if we use this binary concept of values, then each row can have only one value. Why? Because a given object can only lie in one cluster. So एक कोई कॉलम होगा जिसमें वो ऑब्जेक्ट 1 होगा, बाकी सारे 0 होंगे. So this is of course hard clustering, but again this technique generalizes to soft clustering very easily. So in that case, simply we would like to maintain that the sum of all the values in any particular row should be 1. In other words, we have probabilities. So let's say if you have so कोई भी आपके पास cluster है, कोई भी आपका object, let's say ith object, which is ith row, and let's say you have 3 clusters. So maybe you'll have values like 0.6, 0.2, which is 0.8, and then 0.2. So sum should be 1. So it means that object I has a probability of belonging to cluster 1 as 0.6, and to cluster 2 and cluster 3 as being 0.2. And of course, if this was hard clustering, then this would be 1, 0, and 0. In this row, there is only 1, 1, and the rest are 0. Okay. All right. So this Chinese whispers algorithms has 2 operations. One operation is you can say online. So it's not really online, or you can say I would say randomized operation, and the other, of course, is the non-randomized matrix operation. So let's first look at the randomized operation. So in the randomized operation, the best way to understand is through the graph. Let's see. Let's see. So let's say we have some object. Let's say this is an object one, let's say. Let me not write the one, maybe. Just give me a second. So let's say we have objects are represented by nodes, of course. Just a second. Just a second. All right, let's try again. So let's say you have a graph. So there are three nodes that are connected to this node. So let's say this node has class 1, this node has class 1, and this node has class 2. So let's say, assuming that all these edges have similar weight, meaning the 1, 1, 1, they are not weighted in the sense that they are binary. Okay, adjacency matrix. If I look at this node here, so it is connected to three nodes. Two of them are belonging to class 1 or cluster 1, and one of them belongs to class 2. So what is the majority class that is connected to this node? It is 1. So we'll assign a value of 1 to this. Okay. So we have selected one node randomly from the graph, and we looked at its connected nodes. And initially, of course, we start with all nodes having some random cluster assignment. Then we randomly select one node, in this case, this node that I've selected, and I look at its neighbors, and the majority label of its neighbors is then taken as the label of this node. That's as simple as it is. And you repeat this for other nodes. So let's say you go to some other node randomly. So let's say 4 आ रहे हैं इसमें, उस पे let's say 2 है, 2 है, let's say 3 है और ये 1 है. So this one would become 2. ठीक है? Because two of them belong to cluster 2, 1 to 3, and 1 to 1. So this will become 2. So this was another random node in the network. You select another random node. Let's say it is connected to just one object. Let's say इसका cluster 4 था, so this also becomes 4. And of course, if there's a tie, let's say there's another node like this, इसका 1 है और ये 2 है. So this is a tie. Tie, of course, you remove through random assignment. Either you select 1 or 2. Maybe you select 1. So you do this repeatedly. So there are n objects. You randomly select one object, look at its neighbors, and look at the labels of those neighbors. Select the neighbors, select the label that is in the majority as the label for this node. Then randomly move to another node, randomly move another, do it multiple times until there will no change in the labeling of the nodes. Okay. So in essence, your information is stabilizing based on the information of the neighbors. And that's why this is also sometimes called a message passing type of approach. And the Chinese whispers, which is a Chinese, you can say, games for kids, where one information, basically a kid passes some information to another kid, that kid passes information to another kid, and so on. So basically it's the same idea, but they name it after the Chinese game, which is a Chinese whispers game. So this is the, you can say, the stochastic or randomized way of running this algorithm. You select one node randomly, look at its neighbors, and assign the node to the majority label in the neighborhood, and you repeat. You repeat until there is no change in the labeling of any and all nodes in the network. So far I've considered a network or a graph which was just 1 and 0. But if it was, let's say, weighted, meaning that the edges had some similarity, then we will take the weighted sum. So if I want to do that, let's say, मेरे पास ये एक इस नोड का मैं कंसिडर कर रहा हूँ, तो ये नोड मेरे पास ये 1 था और ये नोड मेरे पास था 2, ठीक है, और ये डिस्टेंसेस रिप्रेजेंट सिमिलैरिटी, ठीक है. So obviously 1 is more similar, it's closer to this node, so I'll give this node 1. ठीक है. So in other words, weighted similarity भी हम ले सकते हैं. So कोई आपके पास नोड है, तो आपके पास ये 1 1 है और ये let's say 2 2 है, तो जो 2 का टोटल वेटेड सिमिलैरिटी है और 1 का टोटल वेटेड सिमिलैरिटी है, जिसका वेटेड सिमिलैरिटी ज्यादा है वो आप उसको असाइन कर देंगे. ठीक है. So we have discussed the randomized operation of this algorithm. So the matrix operation is also quite simple. So basically, so we are using the matrices D and A. Okay. A, of course, is the affinity or the adjacency matrix. D is the cluster matrix. So initialize D with all ones in the diagonal. So what does this mean? Remember, D was the cluster matrix. So if you have one along the diagonals, which means that each object belongs to a different cluster. So there are n clusters in the data set. So you start with each object belonging to its own cluster. Okay. So of course, all ones in the diagonal and off diagonals are all 0. Okay. So then you have an iteration or loop, and basically we have D D new equal to so let's say max row D. This is matrix multiplication. D is a matrix, A is a matrix. Let me just make it consistent. So D is equal to D new. Okay, so this is the standard loop. So just have one operation in the loop where you do this matrix multiplication, D and A. The current D with AA, of course, does not change. So current D, and then you do the max row. I'll explain what max row is. So by the way, the D into A. This is matrix multiplication. So this matrix multiplication is actually doing the same computation that we described through the graph. So for each node, it is actually computing the weighted sum of all the nodes that are connected to it. If you follow the matrix math, exactly वही चीज यहाँ भी हो रही है. But now we are doing it through a matrix operation. There we are doing it through a graphical operation. So for each node, we are actually taking the weighted sum of, let's say, all the ones, all the twos, all the threes, and so on. तो वो सारे उसके rows में आ जाएंगे. So for any given object, let's say object 1 है, ith object का जो weight matrix होगा, जो D matrix होगा, वो आपके पास उसमें कुछ values आ जाएंगी. Let's say 0.2, 0.3, 0.1, 0.8. and 0.3 and so on. So you get these values. What does 0.2 means? This object के neighborhood में one label वाले उनका weighted sum 0.2 है. So what does 0.3 means? इस object के जो neighborhood में जो two labeled objects हैं उनका weighted sum 0.3 है. ठीक है? So the fourth labeled cluster, this has the highest value. ठीक है? So जो max row operation है, it is basically done on this. So this would give you basically 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and so on. जो maximum value है, वो 1 हो जाएगी, बाकी सारे 0 हो जाएंगे. So this will lead to your next D, and then you repeat the process until there is no change in the D. So is this point clear? So one row of this D matrix will capture the weighted similarities of all the clusters that are neighbors of this particular object. So we'll take the maximum value and put a 1 there, means that this object belongs to that cluster, and the rest we force to 0. And then we repeat this process until there is no change in the D, which means that we have converged and we are done with the clustering. So once you have converged, the final D will represent the final clustering. So how? So just you look at each column. If and for, so basically each, as I said, column represents a cluster. ठीक है? Cluster. So basically all objects with a 1 in this column belong to this cluster. ठीक है? So आपके पास एक कॉलम आया, उसमें लेट्स से सेकंड वाली वैल्यू 1 थी, थर्ड वाली 1 थी, 10th वाली 1 थी और 50th वाली 1 थी. इसका मतलब है इस क्लस्टर में 2, 3, 10 और 50 ऑब्जेक्ट बिलोंग टू दिस क्लस्टर. So after these operations, there might be some column that are all zeros. इसका मतलब है वो क्लस्टर है ही नहीं. So at the end you might have less than n clusters. Remember शुरू में हमने सारे diagonals में 1 डाल दिए थे n clusters से. But at the end there might be some column that are all 0, which means that there are less than n clusters. At the end of the day, some clusters are empty. So which is fine. Okay, so in this case also, this algorithm does not require k as an input, the number of clusters as an input. It determines the number of clusters automatically. ठीक है, तो any questions? So this is the Chinese whispers clustering algorithm. Of course, its complexity is in general n square, because for each object you have to look at n other objects, consider the graph, right? And then of course you have to repeat it for multiple iterations. So n squared into, let's say, t, the number of iterations. But usually the graph would be sparse, so this n square would be not really n square, maybe n log n or even smaller than that. Okay. Uh, so that's essentially Chinese whispers. This algorithm does have some issues regarding convergence, although it does converge in a few iterations, maybe 5, 10 maximum. But sometimes convergence इतनी clearly visible नहीं होती. उसकी वजह यही है कि there might be some ties and you have to select among those ties randomly. And sometimes वो ties बार बार आने शुरू हो जाएंगे because of the nature of your data set. So convergence can be a problem for this data set, for this algorithm, but it typically reflects issues in the data set. So of course, the stochastic version is somewhat more robust by its very nature. The deterministic approach, which is based on matrix operation, is more prone to convergence issues. So Chinese whispers जो है इसका paper मिल जाएगा. Just search for Chinese whispers on Google. I will also post the paper on the website. It's just a small paper वो आप quickly read कर सकते हैं. But the idea I have completely explained in this 15-20 minutes. So I think with that, I think we will conclude our discussion on clustering algorithms. And so are there any questions? So next we will talk about cluster or clustering evaluation or validation. So far, while we were discussing the various clustering algorithms, we did not focus much on cluster evaluation or clustering evaluation. And of course, evaluation is an important step in any data mining / machine learning application. We need to be able to precisely determine whether the results that we have obtained are really meaningful or not. So clustering validation, it's slightly more challenging than the validation of, let's say, supervised learning approaches like classification. So classification, you already know. So there are various techniques for classification evaluation. You can think of the accuracy, which is universally known. You can also use the F1 measure and so on. So many measures are available for evaluating classification techniques. And we did mention some of them earlier on as well. So for clustering, the challenge is that we don't typically, since this is unsupervised, we don't typically have labeled data set. Okay. So of course we can maybe build a small labeled data set and compare a clustering with that. So that's one way of evaluation. So in general, as I said, there will be two ways of evaluating. So two ways of validation. One is basically unsupervised. So intrinsic. And the second, of course, is supervised / extrinsic. Okay. So in the case of supervised, which we'll discuss later, maybe we'll do it next time. I time नहीं होगा. We assume that we have some data set. कुछ हमारे पास objects हैं जिसकी clusters की या उनकी groupings हमारे पास available हैं. We compare our clustering, which is given by our clustering algorithm, with that, and then and most of the techniques in this case are similar to those that we use for classification. But let's start with intrinsic first. So intrinsic evaluation would require intrinsic measures or indices. Okay. So we will be discussing those as well. But first, before I do that, so one of the reasons, or there are a number of reasons why we like to do cluster validation. Of course, one is to determine whether our clustering is good or not. But we can also think of cluster validation as comparing, let's say, two clusterings, or determining whether a particular cluster is a good cluster, or, for example, determining the number of clusters K required in a data set K, for example. So if we did not have a validation or evaluation technique, we won't be able to decide all of those parameters. So remember, K was a parameter, number of clusters. If we did not have a way of evaluating or validating a cluster, we will not be able to determine K. So for which K, the performance is best. So what is performance? You need to have a measure for that. So that's why we have to have this evaluation. And another important aspect is that sometimes your data set may not have any clusters in it. But when you apply a technique like for example, K-means, it will give you some clusters. So you need to have some way of saying that, or determining whether those clusters are good or not. So again, you need to have some numbers for it. So one, just to explain this further. So let's say आपके पास purely uniformly random data है, random points हैं, ठीक है, random points आपने ले लिए. इस पे जब आप k means चलाएंगे, k means and you set k is equal to 2, वो k ढूंढ लेगा आपको, clusters बना देगा इधर. मे बी आपने दूसरी दफा इसको फिर चलाया, वो यूं क्लस्टर्स ने ढूंढ दिए. तीसरी दफा चलाया, मे बी उसने यूं क्लस्टर ढूंढ दिए. But do clusters exist in the data set? There is no inherent structure in the data set. In this 2D data set, all points are uniformly distributed. So there are no groups in this data set that are closer to each other more than that they are closer to others. जो clustering की basic definition है. But जब आप k-means इस पे लगाएंगे, वो at the end of the day आपको दो cluster निकाल के दे देगा. ठीक है. So this is also something that we need to be careful about. If there is inherently the data set is not clustered, then we need to be careful that your algorithm may output some clusters. It may not make any sense. And of course, we can use our validation and evaluation process to find out such problems. So let's start with intrinsic measures. So intrinsic measures can be cohesive in nature, or I should say based on cohesion, based on separation, or based on both, or what we call as hybrid. Okay. So when we say they are based on cohesion, then the measure basically quantifies the closeness of objects or the similarity of objects. When we say separation, it is basically quantifying the dissimilarity or the distance of objects. And hybrid measures would typically involve both of them, usually as a ratio, yeah, as a difference. Cohesion ऊपर होगा, separation नीचे होगा, and this ratio has to be small for the cluster to be good. Okay. So various measures have been proposed. So I'm not going to discuss many of them, just maybe a couple. So we have already actually talked about one or two measures. If you remember, when we talked about the K-means algorithm, we talked about a clustering objective. So within that objective, we were using a measure. That itself is an intrinsic measure for cluster validation. So there we discuss basically the SSE, the sum of squared error. So this is an example of an intrinsic measure. So what was it? It was simply you have the sigma sum over all the objects I is equal to 1 to n, okay? And then of course you had the indicator function I k over the cluster, and then you had the distance. Let's say if this was the Euclidean distance of let's say xi, and then m is the mean of the k square. So Euclidean distance square is basically thus becomes the sum of squared errors. What is the error? The distance of the object from its corresponding mean. So this actually is a intrinsic measure for cluster validation, and it is based on cohesion. Okay. It's based on cohesion, as well as it is a measure that is prototype based, meaning that this measure considers basically single points as representative of objects, in this case the mean. Okay. So you can also have measures that are graph based. मतलब graph based में ये होगा कि we are considering all objects. So graph based में of course, so if you talk about one cluster, so one cluster में जो we will have to compute the average or the pairwise distances between objects within a cluster. So if I can write this, so for example, d xi xj, so this is the distance, okay, for all the objects in some cluster, let's say cluster 1. Of course, we have the sum. The sum would be over, so basically xi xj will belong to cluster 1. So this sum is over all the objects in this cluster. So you sum them up, and this thus becomes a intrinsic measure. But this is measure is based on graph, because we're considering every object. We're not considering one object as a representative. Of course, you can normalize this as well. So इसको normalize करेंगे तो we can normalize it with the number of comparisons that you make. So which is essentially equal to divide by n1. Let's say n1 is the number of objects in this cluster into n1 minus 1. Okay. Of course, normalization is always beneficial because clusters may have different sizes. So you probably have to normalize this. Okay, so this would be a cohesion measure, but now it is based on all objects in a cluster. Essentially, it is a pairwise distance between the objects, of course, average pairwise distance between objects in a cluster. And if you have multiple clusters, you can add it for all those clusters. Okay. So again, this was cohesion. What about separation? So let's say if we talk about prototype based, so in this case, the usual way is so for example, let's say distance of the mean of cluster K with the mean of the entire set of data set. Okay. So MK is the mean for cluster K and M is the mean of the entire data set. So this would be a measure of separation of a particular cluster. So if this value is large, it means that this cluster is good in the sense that it is far away from the mean of the overall data set. If for a particular cluster this distance is small, then it means that it is not a good cluster. And of course, if you have multiple clusters, you can always add them up. So this is prototype based separation. And of course, you can have graph based separation as well. उसमें फिर सारे objects एक cluster के with the mean of the object आप pairwise average ले सकते हैं, या सारे object of one cluster with every object of every other cluster pairwise average ले सकते हैं. Of course, उसमें calculation आपके काफी बढ़ जाएंगी. All of these options are possible. So separation में larger values are better, cohesion में smaller values are better. Okay, and then as I said, you can have hybrid as well. Hybrid usually are cohesion divided by separation. And of course, you can have other variations as well. Subtraction भी use होती है, but usually ratio use होती है. तो cohesion over separation का ratio ले लें आप, and obviously in this case, smaller values would be better because cohesion ज़्यादा कोहेजन जो है वो ज़्यादा होनी चाहिए. सेपरेशन बेसिकली सेपरेशन ज़्यादा का मतलब ये है कि दे आर लार्जर वैल्यू दैट कंसिडर बैड and cohesion ज़्यादा that's considered good. So the ratio should be in general high. Actually, the ratio should be high. The cohesion should be higher, separation should be lower. So we will be looking for larger values here. Okay. So जो पीछे हमने कोहेजन्स और सेपरेशंस के मेजर्स देखें उनका रेशियो ले लें आप. So in general, if we talk about the validity of entire clustering, whole clustering, a clustering may have multiple clusters. So this is simply the sum of all the clusters So WK, there might be some weighing factor by the validity for a particular cluster K. Okay? So this is the general way of quantifying the validity of the entire clustering. By the way, जो ऊपर हमने SSE का formula लिखा था वो इसी form में था. We had summations over the entire data set, and it comprised of summations for one data set, which is validity of validity of one cluster, and then you summed it over all clusters. And of course, the weight there was just one, but in other scenario, you might want to weight by the size of each cluster. Okay, so maybe some clusters are bigger, so uska weight basically normalize करने के लिए 1/ni आप कर सकते हैं. But this would depend on the different measures. So by the way, ये जो different measures हैं, you can find them in the book on Introduction to DM. I think it is section 7.5 or table शायद 7.6 है. So this chapter, by the way, the chapter 7 of this book is available on the web as a free chapter. आप download कर सकते हैं from the book web page. Even though this book itself the whole book is not available freely, but ये chapter available है. और जो cluster validation या evaluation का सारी discussion है, या ज़्यादा discussion इसी chapter से मैं कर रहा हूँ, not from your handbook. ठीक है? Okay, so this was some discussion on cohesion, separation, and hybrid, and some measures that are based on cohesion, separation, and hybrid, and using the notion of prototype or graph-based. So let's move on. So again, we are still talking about unsupervised cluster validation. So one other way is based on correlation or similarity analysis. ठीक है? So इसमें हम किस तरह करेंगे? So let's say you have a similarity, you usually have a similarity measure for your data set. ठीक है? So let's say I call that similarity matrix. हमने क्या use किया था similarity matrix के लिए measure? I think let's just call it S. So this is a similarity matrix. And let's say C, this is the clustering matrix. Both matrices, of course, are n by n. Okay. So similarity matrix of course क्या है? Sij is basically the similarity between xi and xj. Okay. What is Cij? Cij is the clustering that you get after applying the clustering algorithm. So this is equal to 1 if xi and xj belong to the same cluster. ठीक है? So ये clustering matrix है. How do you get this matrix? After doing the clustering. Once you have done the clustering, you look at pairs of objects. If they belong to the same cluster, then put a 1 in this matrix at that particular position. Otherwise, put a 0 there. ठीक है? So now you have two matrices. By the way, both of these matrices are symmetric. So you have two matrices. So you can compute the similarity or correlation between these two matrices. And that similarity or correlation will give you the fit between the data S, which is similarity in the data, and the clustering that you get, which just tells you how good your clustering was, or how good your clustering algorithm was. ठीक है, आप कोरिलेशन में आप कुछ भी यूज कर सकते हैं. यूजली दिस इज कंटिन्यूस वैल्यू, तो यू कैन सिंपली यूज पियर्सन कोरिलेशन कोफिशिएंट. ठीक है, so both S and C, S of course is continuous between 0 and 1, let's say similarity matrix है, और C is usually binary 0 1. ठीक है, you can always compute the correlation between them. If the correlation is high, it means that you have a good clustering, or you have kind of extracted the structure that was present in S in the clustering C. If the correlation is low, it means that you have not extracted the structure in S in C. Okay. So basically, again, to find correlation between S and C. Okay. If high, of course qualitatively, but you have a quantitative number वो आप use कर सकते हैं. Then good clustering, otherwise not. ठीक है. And of course, if you have multiple clustering algorithms, different clustering algorithm will give you different correlations. जिसकी highest correlation है, that is probably the best clustering algorithm for this data set. So by the way, I talked about the issue of random data, और उस पर आप k means लगाएं तो वो cluster ढूंढ देगा. ठीक है ना. तो random data का जब S देखेंगे, उसमें of course S में random numbers होंगे similarities के. उसके ऊपर जब आप k means लगाएंगे, वो clusters तो ढूंढ देगा, but again those clusters would be random. So random clusters with random S would give you very low correlation, which means that you have not found good clusters, or you have not found the structure in S. Of course, there wasn't any structure in S. So this is kind of validating के आपका डेटा सेट क्लस्टरेबल नहीं है, या आपका एल्गोरिथम क्लस्टर नहीं कर पा रहा. दोनों में ऑफ कोर्स डिस्टिंग्विश करना है, तो आपको मल्टीपल एल्गोरिथम लगाने पड़ेंगे. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes more, so let's discuss one more. So another technique which is kind of hybrid is called the Sill-Witt coefficient. I hope I can spell it properly. Yeah, Sill-Witt coefficient. Okay, so which is S पहले भी use किया था. Usually it's called S, small s. So Sill-Witt coefficient is actually defined, ideally is defined for each point. But of course, you can add up the Sill-Witt coefficient for all points in a clustering to find the validity of the entire clustering. So defined for each object. Okay. So, so it has two parameters or two values. One value is A. So let's say we are talking about the ith object. Okay. So ith object A is the average distance of xi to objects in its own cluster. मतलब xi किसी cluster में था, उसका distance with other objects in the same cluster, of course average. So this is A. So the other parameter B is the average. Okay, it's not just the average, it's the minimum of the average distance of xi from objects in other clusters. Okay. So remember, there might be more than 2 clusters. So xi lies, let's say xi lie in, let's say C1. ठीक है, तो आपने एक एवरेज डिस्टेंस ढूंढना है xi का विद C1. आपने एवरेज ऑफ x1 with C2, एवरेज xi with C3. जैसे 3 क्लस्टर्स थे. इसमें जो मिनिमम है, दिस इज द वन दैट यू चूज. सो चूज द मिनिमम फॉर B. ठीक है. In other words, this is the object that is closest to the object. This is the cluster that is closest to the object xi. ठीक है. So given these two numbers for any given object, so Si for that object is simply B minus A divided by max of B and A. So B is the distance of this object to other clusters. A is the distance to its own cluster. So B minus A generally should be positive, because distance to other clusters ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. Of course, ये negative भी हो सकता है. It means that this object totally not clustered properly. And of course, the higher this value is, the better. Of course, denominator में normalization है. This ensures that this value would lie between 0 and 1. Ideally. Of course, it can also lie between -1 and 1. Meaning, of course, कोई भी negative value होगी, इसका मतलब है कि ये object properly cluster हुआ ही नहीं है. It should be in the other cluster, not in this cluster. But even if it is in the proper cluster, we would like to have a value that is close to 1 or higher values, which are better. So this tells us how well a particular object is clustered. And if you want to find the validity of the entire clustering, you simply sum for all the objects in the cluster, okay, of Si. And of course, you have to normalize it. So 1 divided by n. Okay? N objects हैं तो normalize up करेंगे. So this will give you the validity for the entire clustering. So this technique is both cohesion and separation. So A जो था वो cohesion था. We are looking at distance with objects within the same clusters. B is separation, distance of the object with other clusters, and we have taken the ratio. Actually, in this case, difference, not ratio. Ratio was only for normalization. And this is one good thing about this technique. Second is it gives you a validity for each point. तो आप हर एक पॉइंट के लिए निकाल सकते हैं. So let's say कोई outlier है तो उसके लिए आप निकाल सकते हैं. This value should be low for an outlier or even negative for an outlier. ठीक है. And then of course you can combine all of the single values for each object to find the clustering, the validity of the entire clustering. So values closer to 1 are better. And of course, a negative value is considered bad. So I think that would conclude the intrinsic measures or the unsupervised ways of evaluating clusters. So in the next lecture, I will basically summarize some of these with some pros and cons, and then we'll briefly discuss the supervised approaches for cluster validity, and that will be the end of cluster validity. And then we'll move on to outlier analysis, outlier detection. Any questions? So any questions? We have a quiz in about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Sure. तो कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है. So ठीक है. So I will end the session. Okay, we have a quiz. Stop.